So being energetic and alive, I think I have that what you call a natural skills in me. And with how I communicate with my children, dealing with people, reading a book is such a good help. And if I saw some interesting person, special mention you, Eli, like I always ask, hey Eli, what's the most interesting book that you read? Like you want to read it again and again. So from that, I have the source. And then if I saw a person like this person is such an like well disciplined, focused, and really good in interacting with people. Like you have to ask them. You don't really need to act like I know a lot. I know a lot of things. Even though you know yourself, you know a lot, but still you have to ask. Like from that, I learn more and more each day.
Emerge Stories is a place where, as the name implies, you are going to hear stories. Stories from people all over the Philippines who have come from many different types of backgrounds, and especially people who have gone through struggles, people who have gone through the challenging parts of life. And I hope that these stories will relate for you in some way, that some of these stories will really land for you because these people have gone through probably just about the same thing you might be going through right now. Our guest today on Emerge Stories is an amazing single mother named Sabrina Ulfa Victoria. She is a businesswoman, a realtor, and an influencer. She's somebody who's building a successful career in real estate while also inspiring other people to pursue their dreams. And Sabrina is somebody I've known for a couple of years, and she's just, I don't know if I've ever met anyone who lights up a room the way she does when she walks in. She's just somebody who, despite the struggles she's been through in life and even the struggles she still goes through, she's just somebody who brings incredible energy to the people around her. She's one of the most appreciative people. She just expresses her gratitude and appreciation for others so openly and so beautifully all the time. She's been a really good friend to me and to some of my friends. And I think Sabrina is just an incredible example of how a single mom and somebody who's just been through some really rough times and did not come from privilege, came from a very difficult background, has chosen to really pursue life with positivity. And she's also somebody who has just taken a lot of ownership of her growth and development and learning. She's decided to read books and spends a lot of her energy when she has free time on making herself better as a person, as a friend, as a mom, and just as somebody that you can tell she really has learned how to love herself. And I think she's just a wonderful example of how to live. And especially for those of you out there who maybe you're in your 30s or even older and you feel like maybe it feels too late to craft yourself into who you want to be. I didn't do that until my late 30s, and Sabrina, I think, has really done that in her, she's a mom of 4, but she's probably in her early 30s when she started putting a lot of energy into growing herself, I think. So hope you guys really enjoyed this conversation. I hope something here inspires you as she does me. And as always, please like, subscribe, click the bell, follow our content, give us feedback, leave comments, tell Sabrina what you think about her, and encourage the people we're interviewing as well. But especially if something here is inspiring, please take a moment to share it with somebody who you think might be touched by this story. Maybe you know somebody who has a very similar story as Sabrina in some ways, and that her story could inspire them. Please take a moment to share it. It would be an amazing gift for them. Thanks for being here, and let's jump into the story. Welcome, Sabrina, to the Emerge Philippines interview series. Thanks for joining us, and tell us, where are you right now?
Hello, Eli. Thank you for having me. So as of now, I am here at the City.
Oh,
Staying
you're
at
in
my
Lahug. Nice. In Cebu. Awesome. Where are you from originally? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up from Mabolo, Cebu City, which is still in the Cebu City, and moving in the provinces and now back to the city.
Okay. So I thought you grew up in Katmon, but no, that's not where you, partially or no, mostly Mabola. Got it. Nice. All right. And I know you have 4 amazing kids. They're like in their teens now, in that range. Is that right?
They are super amazing and they are growing already. I have 3 teenagers and 10 years old, the youngest one.
So the youngest is 10, the oldest is 16, something, 17?
19,
19, all the way 19. Okay.
15.
Wow. So if anyone is seeing this on YouTube or something, they're not going to believe that because you look like you can't have a 19-year-old, but you've been operating pretty much as a single mom for how long now?
Oh, for almost like 7 years.
Wow. So single mom, 4 kids. But for, because I know you personally and a lot of my friends, like we have mutual friends, and I would say that all the people who I know who know you would totally agree that you're just one of the most vibrantly happy, amazing people that they've ever met. That you're just somebody who like lights up the room when you walk in, and you seem to be living a life where you're mostly thriving. I know there's ups and downs, and sometimes the downs are big, but you seem like somebody who, I don't know, really in you're owning your own life, and like you're growing, you're learning all the time, you're doing new things. So I really want to tell the story of how you have come from. But let's go back to the beginning. Like when you were growing up, what was your life like when you were a kid?
Okay, when I was a kid, I was growing up with this kind of like, they call it like squatter area, like several families only, not really that so crowded. So it's just like majority of us is just like a family. So from there, I grew up with a father who always encouraging me not to be weak.
Okay.
Show them that you are not a weak child. So if I go back home crying and then my dad will get mad at me, it's okay if you cry, but make it sure you do the revenge. So that is my father. And the other side, which is my mother is like super soft and very calm, relaxed, and don't want some trouble. So I grew up with this two characteristic that my father is very fighter and my mother is super relaxed and as much as possible, no messed up with as a child.
So you obviously, growing up living in a squatter area, your financial or social status, socioeconomic status was pretty low, right? Um,
Mhm. Absolutely.
so yeah, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a kid? What are some of the tough memories?
The biggest challenge that I really encountered is when my father is started to become an irresponsible one. So I saw my mom working so hard and I saw her like very tough from super soft become very tough. Like
Mm.
she always remind me like with this life, we have to fight for this. But still we have this side of us to do such a good thing just to survive. No matter what will happen. So we still have to find good ways to survive. So I saw my mom like always have this encouragement to pursue life instead of just like ending life without. So you can really never hear from her like, okay, this is our life and this is it. We are poor, we cannot eat, we cannot. So it's just not like that. So all I can heard from her is like, okay, we have to work, we have to find way, we have to eat, and we have to do this. So let's build a teamwork. So that is my mom.
So your mom is giving you this like inner story of I can instead of I can't. Sometimes,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. You cannot hurt any I can't from my mom.
Beautiful. So you think that kind of became a part of why I see you as someone who like tries new things, you learn new things. You don't have this story in your mind of like being stuck. You're always trying to grow. And do you think that's because your mom gave you that kind of I can attitude?
Absolutely, no doubt. Like I got it from her.
Nice. So tell me maybe some, you can think of some stories where maybe that I can attitude led you to learn or grow or try new things, or, what has it done for you?
So for me, how I applied it in my personal life, which is when I started to build my own family. So at the early age, at 70, I got pregnant already from my eldest daughter. And until like I have these four kids, it's just like a do-re-mi. In the Philippines, we call it do-re-mi. It's just like after 1 year or 2 years, I have another child again. And then to make the long story shorter, well, my ex-partner and I, we decided to separate because of something. And then I have this moment, like I feel like, okay, I don't have someone to lean on. I cannot even call my friend. I cannot even call my family because they have their own struggle. And then I have my 4 kids. Every day they need to eat. They need to go to school. They have the basic needs that I need to provide, but I don't have the job. I don't have the stable income. So what I am doing is I go out, I find way, and that ways is like doing the laundry with neighbor,
Hmm.
having my hands in pain or some wound on it because I do the hand wash. And then I go back home. I have this little amount of money to buy rice or sardines or noodles until I never stop doing that thing. At the same time, I never stop pursuing my goal. So instead of doing the laundry business with this wash hand, why not buying a machine? Until year after year, I built this kind of like a professional laundry shop. I have my nice upgraded laundry machine, which is I bought until my business goes well and I get my stable, my daily basic needs from me and my kids. I get it from my laundry. So with that, we moved to Katmon. We moved in Katmon and again back to zero.
Mm.
Something like, okay, what now? I have nothing. I don't even have a peso, a single peso in my wallet because I have to spend it every day during the pandemic and I don't have that money to be back on me until just like a lot of things going on in my mind until I can say that I'm fighting with depression. So
Mhm.
it's just like I feel like I am in the black hole. Like I don't have someone again back to zero. And I have these 4 kids that are growing already. And what else I can do now? So instead of being at home for doing nothing, so I started to go out until I met such awesome circle of friends. And that circle of friends was built by Eli, which is I am talking with you now. You have no idea how you really changed my life at that time when I was in the black hole. You're kind of a person who always there for me, like, hey Sabrina, come over here at home. We have this celebration because I have these friends celebrating their birthday and I would like you to meet them and they're your friends become my friends. And I
You
started,
stole all my friends.
oh, absolutely. And from that, I started to become alive.
Wow,
I started
I didn't realize.
I started, yeah, exactly. And then until now, I'm so grateful to have you and to have those other circle friends of ours. Just that's a beginning of another me. And
Mhm.
then until now, this is it. I have this career that is really passionate of this, which is real estate agent.
How's that going so far?
It's going so amazing, so excellent because
Wow.
every week, every day, I learn something from it. And I meet such an amazing another group of friends and client and just everything for this is what I am looking forward for longer years.
It seems like real estate would be perfect for you because you're the kind of person that just walks up to strangers and says hello and like you're so charismatic with people you just met. How did you become were you always that way? Did you always, walk up to strangers and have that smile and like just be comfortable talking to anyone?
Okay, let's go back to where I grew up. I was grew up in this squatter area, right? Where there are a lot of people. You don't even know who are they. So, I mean, some of them. So I have this father who will always remind me, if you go out, make it sure that you are brave enough to protect yourself because I am not with you. So I have this side of me, like a little bit brave. So, and then my mom will always told me, smile, just smile and spread love by having your smile. So that's me. And then I get used to it. Like everybody, like a friends of my parent, every time they have this birthday celebration from their children, they always like, okay, where is Sabrina? I want her to be here. Like, and then I have to dance in front of the, you know, it's like an kid, I can describe myself, a kid who have always have this energy, good vibes, always smiling. And then I just showed for who I am. And then I get used to it. Until I become teenager, I always showed how authentic I am. This is me. And how I smiling or positive. It's just like the positive energy that I have. I guess I got it from my mom again.
Is your mom like that? Does she bring, positive energy everywhere to everyone like that? Same as you?
Absolute. She's not that energetic person like into social life. She's not in that. But I got that good in socializing. I guess because I grew up in squatter area.
Okay.
I met a lot of friends from there.
Okay. So your mom taught you to bring a smile with you everywhere. And as you started to do that, you started to see people reacting positively, and then they wanted you around because of the way you brought such a happy energy with you everywhere.
Precisely. And when I noticed that it can make me alive as well, it can make me feel good. So I said like, okay, since this is what can make me feel happy, so why not continue it? So
Yeah.
I pursue it. Every time I meet people, I just look at the either whether you are a stranger or you are an old friend or whatever. I look at you like I always put in my mind, I love you. I love you. I entered the room, even though I do not know them yet, but I said it in my mind, I love these people.
When you're about to enter a room and you're thinking about that, are you trying to give something to them? Is it kind of a, focusing on what you can give to the people that you're about to meet or that are in the room? Is it like that, or is it just, is it like a gift? Are you thinking of it as a gift, sort of, or how do you feel about it?
I mean, pardon, please.
Ah, so what I mean is, when you are about to walk into a room and you're telling yourself that, you're thinking about bringing that energy to the room that you walk into. Does it feel like are you imagining giving a gift to them? Is it for them that you're thinking? Or
What's in my mind at
yeah,
that moment is just
yeah,
like I always put in this mind, like the world itself is in chaos already. So we have two choices on how we deal with it, whether we have to be negative or we have to be positive. And I knew it. I knew it. Majority of the people they have this frustration in life, and I feel so sad with that. And for me, like since I understand a little bit with that, so that's how I showed up. Like, hey, let's make it alive. I mean, there's always a way to be happy. There's always a way to be alive. There's always a way to be energetic instead of being this lousy one. So
nice.
I entered in the room with always mentality of like these people is such amazing people and awesome people that I love. I
That's
don't
awesome.
even know them, but I already love them.
Beautiful. I love that. The idea of just smiling making you happy. Did you know that physiologically, and like the way that we work is like, when we smile, it actually can make us happier, because it really does work that way. So I think that's really cool that you have that habit and that you realize it helps you. But I also wish that, sometimes I'm jealous when I see people like you, because I think it's a big advantage to have a natural level of charisma like that, where it really does, people want you around, right? You have a lot of advantages when people like to be around you. It's like natural, just this natural charisma that you've developed. Maybe it's not natural, like you're born with it, but you developed it when you're young. I have I have to work really hard to look like I'm smiling, so I have a disadvantage. And I think if I was just more likable ever since I was younger, I think I would have had a lot more advantage. But anyway, so I'm jealous of that. But you said earlier that you never stopped pursuing your goals. Like, you've always been kind of goal oriented or driven. Can you talk a little bit more about, you know,
So
um,
yeah,
yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
way back, like being in the laundry business, like I started with the hand wash. But I always, every time I wash, I look at my hand wrinkling and have this one from the bleach, from the detergent, like sort of like allergic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cried alone, but it doesn't mean I have to stop. So I have this side of me always whispering in my side, like, Sabrina, this is not the end of the world yet. All you have to do is to keep moving forward. I do not know how to start it, but I know it's just there is already in your mind that was set up. All you have to do is figure out how to start it and then move and keep moving forward. So until I bought this machine, like a little one.
Did you save up the money for that? Like you saved up enough money from washing to do that, to buy the washing machine? Yeah.
Absolutely. You have no idea how much I save. Like every day, like a peso, and then on the next day maybe 10 pesos
Wow.
until I bought this second hand, which is pretty cheap. And then until like I bought this nice machine that is really for professional laundry business. And I am so happy with that. And then when I moved in the Katmon with the super typhoon named Odette, it really banished all the machine that I have in the house. So again, I feel a
Really?
little
I didn't know. So
disappointed.
I didn't know about this. So you moved to Katmon like when?
I moved there during the strict pandemic time, and I
Oh,
rent a
really?
house. It's pretty close in the beach.
Okay.
So during the super typhoon, like I couldn't save my machine.
So you had a laundry business going in Katmon before the typhoon with those machines that you had built up?
During the strict pandemic, I tried to go, okay, since the laundry won't work here in the provinces because people there they wash their own clothes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I said like I need something to start. I don't want to be stagnant. So that word is stagnant. It's just I don't like it.
Yeah.
So until I decided to open up a salon, which is Fascination Salon in Katmon. And by God's grace, it's doing good and it make a little bit profit, but not really my bread and butter. So I said like, okay, since this business doesn't really give that much of me, which not can really provide our daily basic needs. So I have to find another way, which is this is it, the real estate. And yeah, starting again. And I love how it works on me because being patient of waiting for like 5 years, I guess, because I couldn't leave my children and I don't have cell phone at that time when I started to apply in the real estate until this is it. It's just like the nature who is giving to me.
Amazing.
It's not really a part of plan, but even though that's what I want in life, but the nature just find it ways to provide it to me.
Love it. And just so that people have a little bit of an idea, like I've seen enough of your just through social media and knowing you that it appears to me that you provide pretty well for your kids. Like your kids are a few of them are cycling a lot, like they have pretty nice bikes and they're cycling as a hobby or even more than a hobby.
Basketball, yeah, for the
Yeah,
boys. They are really good in sports, super athletic, just like me. I mean, I'm into run. My girls are into bicycle and my boys are into basketball. We have different hobbies in talking about sports, but above all, we are athletic family.
that's awesome.
Mm-mm.
What are some things that you've learned being a single mom that maybe you could, if you could send a few messages or a few thoughts to all those single moms out there that are sometimes
Mm-mm.
struggling, or maybe they're telling themselves, because I've met so many single moms in this country where they tell themselves, oh well, I can't do that because I have a kid at home, or like it really limits them in their mind, so they think they have to do this because they have a kid, or just anything that you would recommend, like any thoughts you want to share with single moms.
Okay. So for all the single mom out there, believe me, that is one of the hardest part of our life. Especially if you are a single mom, like you don't have an assurance who is the person that will stand behind you.
Nobody to fall back to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, with based on my own experience, you always put on your mind that the world is moving around. You're not stagnant. All you have to do is to get out, smile, spread positive vibes. And the good vibes, which is the good karma, will bounce on you. And one of these days, you will just be surprised, like, oh, why I have this kind of income? Why I have this kind of job now? Like, it just happened for without, I couldn't explain it so well. But all you have to do is don't lose your hope and don't forget to be still grateful, because it could be like that's the way for the right path. I mean, with in the middle of your struggle, it could be the way for you to bring on the right path, to become a better you, stronger you, wise, and more, what you call that one, more passionate of the things that you are doing.
Nice. Earlier, you were saying, you were talking about how, when things seemed really difficult, like back when you were washing clothes to just provide for your kids, and you were telling yourself things in your mind. You said, like, this is not the end of the world and I'm going to live through this, whatever the stories were, right? You had these empowering self-talk where you're talking to yourself, building yourself up. You're saying, like, I can do this. This is not going to kill me. I can find a way, right? Have you ever experienced times in your life when you were doing the opposite, like where you were telling yourself things are terrible, I can't do this, or, like, what I want to illustrate is the power of the story of what we're telling ourselves, like the difference between, because for myself and watching other people, like, I think the biggest difference in people's lives is not where they were born, not who they were born to, not their chances or their luck or their opportunity. It's the stories we tell ourselves in our heads. If we sit there and tell ourselves how terrible things are, we just are
Mhm.
very unlikely to act, right? But if we have really strong stories, we say, this is not the end of the world. I'm not going to die. I can figure this out. I've got the power. I can learn. We act, right? So have you
Mm,
had parts of your life where your stories got negative?
of course. I cannot deny it, but yes and yes. And at that time, again, I have myself. I only have myself. My mom is living beside in my house, but I cannot share it to her because she have her own struggle as well. So what I did is just like I prayed to God, like, please, I know you are there. I am your daughter and you are my father. And as a father, you are there for me and who will guide me. And then remember you give me this Kindle book.
Kindle e-reader. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I just saw it. Supposed to be I do not open it for long times, for how many months. And then I saw it, I open it, and then one of the book that you read is like how to love yourself. I think I forgot the title of that. It's like, oh, interesting. So I started to read it. It's just a few pages. So I read it for like a week. And with that messages in that book, which you read also, thank you. So I learned to be back on myself, to take care of myself, to love myself, to to remember that I am who I am. So with this negative part of me, when I am really so frustrated, it's just like a temporary. It's just like I'm having this worry that doesn't happen yet. I have this concern in life that it wasn't happening yet. So it's just built up with my thoughts.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Like, what have you noticed when it comes to the amount of energy that worrying takes up compared to, like, I think what you're just saying is like that worrying usually is about things that never happen. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like, can you give one or two examples of things that you got because I've done this so many times, things where you spent a lot of time and energy worrying and it made you so, maybe even, like, what's one of the times that you remember where worry was draining you the most? Like, what's something you were worrying about? Can you think of a story?
Yes. First is like my business. It happens that my business at that time really go down, which is the salon. And I do not know how to save. I want to save it, but how? Knowing that I don't have already. So that's because I don't want to stop. And then second is a worry because my children are teenager. They are entering the world of being teenager. And then they started to have this relationship. And then I'm just a single parent. How could I protect them? How could I guide them? And I started to worry because having building my family at the early age at 17, like it wasn't easy. So I don't want to be happening to my children. So I'm
You don't
so
want them
worried.
to repeat that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. But I do not know how to really to remind them. But until like one day they have this relationship with teenagers as well. I was like, oh my god, this is it. I thought, yeah, as they grow up, the more I am comfortable in life. I mean, but it's just I started to beginning. So, and the third years is just like I am pointless. Like I do not know. Okay, what's next? What am I going to do now? Where are you at now, Sabrina? Like I'm just totally out of track.
Okay.
What you gonna do now, Sabrina? So where are your friends?
Like self-doubt, like you're beating yourself up and like really questioning, why are you not more than this by now? Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You got it.
So with your business going down, your kids getting older, and you imagining that they might make mistakes that you think you made, and
Exactly.
then these self-talk about yourself that's really doubting you. Did any value come from those worries and that negative self-talk about? Did you get anything good from the worrying?
From my worry, what happened to me is just it's just draining my energy. With those worry that I'm trying to hold, just everything. Like I came to the moment that I don't even have this self-esteem. I don't want to go out from my room. I always lock it up. I don't even open my curtain. It's just like, oh my God, what's wrong? Until, yeah, like when I read the book, I go out. I go to the ocean, which is oh my God, that's really my healing. I cried. I just wash myself from the salt water, and I said, okay, this is only your thoughts, Sabrina. There's a way on it. There's a good way on it. So after that, I talk to my children like, hey, did you know that I'm worried about you guys? Because I do really love you. And then until we have this conversation, a serious conversation with my children, and they said, Mom, what happened to you is we understand. And we understand your trauma with that. But if you are thinking like we will do the same thing, no, because we saw you. You are there for us. And you always remind us that we have to pursue our dream and something like that. It's like, really? I mean, you have that kind of thoughts like, yes, mom, we really love you. We are here for you. We don't want to miss up our future, even though we have this relationship with, and they're
So
like,
so on that particular topic, you're sitting there spiraling downward in this worry that you might be a bad mom, you might be not doing the right thing, and then you don't have any power to make sure that they don't make mistakes. But then you finally have the conversation with them and you find out that actually the way they're thinking, you didn't realize how upgraded their thinking was, right? And how kind of mature and like they've got plans in mind, and they're not only that, but you are inspiring them. Like they're seeing you make.
yes, yes.
And
Little did I know.
but I want to draw a contrast here, because I see so many times where young people, teenagers, whatever, because their parents are so much trying to control them from
Mhm.
fear, right? It's the fear that the parents have that the kids are going to do something stupid that causes them to try to control their kids. And that's what the kids rebel against, that causes them to actually do the thing that their parents didn't want them to do. And I think it's like so many times in life where our fears, if we hold on to them too long, they actually create themselves. Like the more you hold on to a fear, the more likely it is to happen. And it's so cool that you didn't keep going down that path. You shifted and you just had the conversation. And you're like, oh my God, it's not actually something,
Exactly.
not
That,
real. It's made up in my mind, right?
that's the key. And now we are living in a peaceful life. So if they're boyfriend or girlfriend will visit, like I make them as a friend, like, hey, and then I have this also a conversation with my children, though I agree with this, but we still have this limitation. What are those? And so I discuss it one by one. To get out of temptation, you only have to do this and that, so something like that. Until like we are now aware to each other. The more we are aware to each other, and the more we understand to each other. So instead of like I have this fear or being so strict with them, I am building already more trust for them.
So open communication. So dropping the fear, leaning into, just connecting with them, and then opening up communication, and then keeping that openness, and kind of, it's like, for me, it's, instead of protecting, it's like
Mm.
embracing. When we're afraid, we have these walls up and we're trying to protect. And then when we decide to lean in and just kind of embrace something, that's
Yes.
when the fears disappear. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
exactly. Exactly. So it's just like that.
Did you feel scared of that conversation? Like, going and talking to your kids about that subject?
Yeah, of course. I have this. I'm scared if I couldn't deliver it well. Like I have always questioned, like, how should I start it? Like I want, how should I get their attention? How should I mean? What are the things to do so that to make them listen to me? So what I doing at that time, I bought because they love to eat. They're a teenager. They love to eat chips. Like something
Snacks.
unhealthy for.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Junk food.
I bought some. I go to the 7-Eleven. I bought some, and then I bought soda. So like, wow, so they are happy because of that kind of food in front of them. Until after that, I said like, may I have your attention, please? So I don't have this worry of my facial reaction, but instead I smile. May I have your attention, please? I have something to tell you. And you're like, okay, what is it? You know what? I cried several nights.
So you started with vulnerability and telling them that
Yeah.
you're struggling with something.
Yeah.
That's a great way to
And
start. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. And they're like, they growing up now. Like the more we become already not just a mother, a strict mother, but already we are like a friend. Like if we go out, like, hey, I mean, what's going on you? Seems like you look heavy. So that's how I approach them. You look a little bit heavy today. Something wrong with you? What is it? Would you like to share it? So they're like, yes, ma, this is what's going on. So they started to open up. So sometimes I don't even ask them. They're the one who knock my door, like, ma, are you still awake? Because I have something to tell you. So the way I delivered my message, even though we have this worry
Yeah.
of what, but we have
Yeah.
this like, I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
But are you in good mood? And you're like, okay, I'm not in my hormonal imbalance now, so I can say I am in the good mood. So we make it as a joke, as a startup. But even though in the middle of the conversation we have these tears of eyes, like, okay, I can understand. I tried. I tried to. I mean, not tried, but I have their emotion as well. I can feel it. So if I need to cry in front of them because I want to know them that their pain is my pain as well.
Yeah.
Their happiness is my happiness as well. So they look at me not just mom, but also like a best friend. A best friend. Yeah.
That's so cool. So after you had that conversation, like, things have gotten progressively, like, you've gotten more connected and more like friends, right? So I think so many parents out there really wish for that. They don't know how to do it. And just the fact that you were vulnerable and you showed your emotions and that you just told them honestly, like, what you were struggling with, I think that's such a powerful way to build trust. Did you, growing up in the Philippines, did you develop a shyness to cry in front of other people, like most people here in this culture? In other words, so you're saying that you're willing to cry in front of your kids, right? You're willing to show your emotions like that.
Yes,
But
yes.
a lot of people in this culture they think they're like really embarrassed to cry in front of other people. So
My,
what do you think about that?
as a parent, we don't really need to be like, I am the parent. So I want to stand as a parent, like you're so dominant in the family because you know a lot better than them, or you're older, or Depends how would you define yourself. However, they are in the new generation as well. We are growing in another type of generation as well. So it could be like they have different sort of entertainment or mentality or whatever. So instead of like contracting it, like you have to fight for it, why not being so open? Why not embracing on how their generation, and still you have to guide them. But instead to be able for you to guide them, embrace for the
Yeah.
changes, not to contradict. I don't know if I forgot the right word to say with that. So
Judge. It's basically judgment. I mean, because if you display judgment, basically, it's like that's what parents a lot of times do, is because things are new and different, and it feels, it's like, what? That's crazy. What? And then if you're the young person, right, and you hear that, then you're perceiving that your parents are judging something that you like, and they're basically disliking it. So of course, it's automatically going to create like a barrier. And then
yeah,
like
exactly.
what you're talking about, I call it verticality. It's like if you're hierarchy, right? So if you're assuming that because you're older that you know better, and I actually really want to talk about this. I think we're running toward the end of our time for today. Maybe we do another conversation another day, but like I would like to kind of finish out talking
Mhm.
about this culture. For a long time, people have been very deferring to people who are older. So it's very natural that you should defer or, automatically respect someone because they're older. You should automatically assume, you kind of already assume that because they're older, they know more than you and that you should do what they tell you, right? And I see this as a major problem because it's not always true. Like the world is changing really, really,
Yeah.
really fast. And a lot
Yes.
of people in older generations, like they didn't really keep learning their whole lives. They're just kind of, they only know what they knew from when they were, old. No, knowledge is old. So it sounds like you have created a much more horizontal relationship with your kids where you're not assuming that you always know better. Is that kind of fair?
Yes, absolutely. You have to be fair enough. And for me, you have to listen to them. If they say something, let them finish. You don't really need like, oh, that's not the right thing to do. So you have to like, okay, what make you feel to say that? What make you feel to make that kind of decision?
Mhm.
So until they will say it, and the more you understand, the more you become relaxed. Like, oh, I think I misguide this child of me. So instead of like, oh, why you have to do that? I told you not to do this, not to do that. But sometimes you're the reason why they have to do that. So you have to listen to them. You have to have open conversation with them and listen and make them finish.
So it appears to me that you are, first of all, single mom of 4 kids, taking care, nobody else backing you up, finding ways to take care of them and doing it well. And then somehow you figure out how to also be a really good mom in a very different way than most people are parenting here. Like you're doing this, and the decisions you're making about how to be a mom, I
Mhm.
really, they match closely with what I think is a good way to, treat them like humans, and stop talking down to them and like listen to them, be actually interested. Like if all humans want to be heard, and so take the time to actually listen, don't make them wrong. Like it's all these principles. So where are you learning these ideas? Where are you getting ideas from to apply them? I know you don't have a single mom coach, right? So nobody is you don't have somebody to call that's teaching you this stuff. You're figuring out a lot of these things on your own, and you're like, okay, that's a mistake. So I'm going to try something new. And you keep thinking, you reflect. I can tell for sure, you're watching what's going on in your life. You're paying a lot of attention. You're seeing the things that do and don't work, and you're making decisions that are very courageous. But I'm curious, like, where are you getting ideas? Do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch YouTube? Like, where do you get ideas? Or are you just figuring everything out on your own?
Mm. So being energetic and alive, I think I have that what you call a natural skills in me. And with how I communicate with my children, dealing with people, reading a book is such a good help. And if I saw some interesting person, special mention you, Eli. Like I always ask, like, hey, like, what's the most interesting book that you read? Like you want to read it again and again. So from that, I have the source, and then if I saw a person like this person is such an like well disciplined, well focused, and really good in interacting with people. Like you have to ask them. You don't really need to act like I know a lot. I know a lot of things. Even though you know yourself, you know a lot, but still you have to ask. Like from that, I learn more and more each day.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the ways that I think that's the most important hack that humans can know about is be very intentional about who you're choosing to learn from and
Yes.
look for people that you actually respect. It's like, okay, find people that are living, thinking, feeling, treating other people the way somehow respect, and then go ask those people, where did you learn? What books did you read? And that's a really amazing way to keep growing yourself. So
Thank you.
yeah, I think it's awesome that you are such a good example to your kids of somebody who, as an adult, I kind of sort of maybe know your age, but I won't say it here, but you have a 19-year-old. So as an adult in that age range, you are just continuing to grow and learn and do new things and starting this new career. I love to see that because a lot of people, I've been here in the Philippines 9 years and I've met so many people. I know a lot of people here, and the patterns that I see of people in their late 30s or 40s or whatever, by that time, a lot of people are just very flat. You used the word stagnant earlier.
Yes.
So let's finish this conversation by talking about what would Sabrina tell someone who feels stagnant? What is the antidote? How do you keep yourself from being stagnant? What would be your advice?
Oh yeah.
Go, go,
For
go.
those
Sorry.
people who feel like hopeless, stagnant, the only thing I can tell you is go out. You need to step out from where you are at, and you have to see the lights. You have to find the lights. And what are those lights? It could be like your neighbor next on you. You can talk to them like, hey, how's your day? And like you can share to each other. And it could be like that person is the one who will give you an idea what's the next thing to do. Or that person who sits beside you in the coffee shop is the person who will help you to figure out. So it's all about have this positive looks in life.
So
On
get out.
behalf, yeah.
I would love to hear let's keep going a little further here. I would love to hear what are some ways that you what are some ways that you went out? What do you do to get out? How do you meet new people other than in a coffee shop? Like how do you expand your social group?
Oh, so every time I go out again, every people that I say, I love them. I do really love people around. And as much as possible, no matter what they are wearing, how they look like, don't put any negative thoughts for them, but instead put that positive thoughts like, oh, this this woman have a nice bag. This woman look amazing. This girl is look charming. Always look the big picture with them instead of and then I am a big believer of like the good thing that you give to other people will bounce it to you. So anyway, every time I am in the coffee shop or wherever I am, I just not stop talking. I approach them, especially for those people like I feel like they're sad or like, hey, how's your day? By the way, I'm Sabrina. And then they start to smile like at the beginning it's like kind of weird for them, but if the conversation will go on and on, they feel amazed. Like by the end of the conversation, they would say like, Sabrina, I really amaze you, and thank you for this. You really made my day, and yeah, it's such a
You're
good thing
really you're really
from them.
good at that. You're good at making people's days. Okay, so let me see if I got it right. So if you're
Mhm.
sitting at a coffee shop and somebody's sitting nearby and you try
Mhm.
to catch their eye or something and you smile and you say, "How's your day?" And by the way, I'm Sabrina. Did I
Uh-huh.
I don't think I did it right.
I mean,
But seriously, for people, that's so scary. I don't think you realize how scary that is for people. Most people to talk to a stranger, it just
mhm.
feels really scary. Did you know that?
I know that. I
Did you? I
know.
don't. Do you feel
I
that way?
know. I know. believe me, I met a lot of strangers that really like people will try to sit apart from them. Like if this is the way, like some people will like go on this way, but me is like one time I meet this a little bit crazy guy. So they acting like they're like, something like that. So what I am doing, even though I am wearing such a nice dress, very elegant, but what I did is like I do the same thing. I mimic them, like, so both of them are happy and laughing. So instead of like he looked at me like a sort of judgmental person or whatever, but he looked at me as a friend.
Nice.
That's it is what it is. I mean, it's just like me. No matter who you are a human, you're a good one, and whatever things happening to you recently or your past, I know you have this sort of each of us, we have this heart. And that heart is used for good thing. Above all, love wins.
I love it. Above all, love wins.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you get out, go meet people, meet new people, look for the things that you know, when you see somebody walking down the street or in a coffee shop, instead of having this, don't let sometimes our brains do this, right? Where we start getting critical or judging other people, but really that's just our own insecurities. It's really
Mhm.
us feeling insecure where we're starting to pick on other things. So you're saying catch that and look for the thing that you appreciate. If it's the person's what they're wearing, or if it's like that person looks friendly. So talk yourself into imagining that this person that you would like them if you knew them. Yeah. Something like that. Like put positive vibes toward people all the time.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
and yes.
All right. So I got one more question related to this. So you've part of today's conversation, it sounds like the friends that you've made have really helped you grow, and like they've uplifted you, they've helped you have new ideas. What do you look for in friends? What are the characteristics or attributes that draw someone to be one of your closest friends? Like what do you really value the most in people?
For me, it doesn't matter that you have this consistent conversation or whatever. It's just like, okay, let's make an example. When I am on my down, very down, I message you, and not just you. I message them as well. Like,
What do your friends have in common? You know, what's something that is similar across them? Like all your closest friends are, you know what I'm saying? Like what do you think is a pattern that you see across the people that you really are closest to?
for me, a friend, it's like you have to tell me. Let's say, Sabrina, I like the way you smile. How would you like to do it? Instead of like taking it like, is this for me a friend? A friend is like it's just like a feeling. I can really feel it, especially if that person is very close to me, sitting beside me. I can feel like how true, how real is this person to me or not. But if I have this feeling that this person have this jealousy and he or he gonna use it against with me instead of good, so I am the one who will sit a little bit out backward a little bit until such a time I figure out like I am doing the right decision. So it's just like more on feeling
Okay,
beside
cool. I just wondered if you had any, like any
specific characteristics.
specific that you look for in friends. Yeah, but that's okay. No worries.
Yeah.
Just was curious. So you just sort of go by your vibe with people. Okay, that's fine.
I,
I think for some people that can get them in trouble because their vibe might be that they get drawn toward people that, let's say, if the people that draw you are the party people and you just like to be around them because they're fun, and then you end up with people who drink all the time, and then maybe that leads in the wrong direction. So if I had to notice because I don't know all your friends, but I know some of the people that have become close to you, I think it looks to me like you seem to attract people that are open and who like to learn. Like those are a couple of the things that I see.
yes.
But maybe you're
For
just
for
go ahead.
me,
Go ahead.
if let's say this group of friends are really want to party. So let's say you're not really into that kind of life, but it doesn't mean that you have to look at them as a bad one, as a bad influence. You
Mm.
don't really need to look at that. If you have time to be with them, party with them for a shorter period of hour or minute, and then go
Move on.
back before you
Yeah.
feel exhausted.
Yeah.
And then this person are really drunken person want to, like, come on, Sabrina, try to drink or something like that. You don't really need to be look at them as a bad one because you didn't know what are
Yeah.
their traumas in life, why they become addicted on that.
Mm.
But all you have to do, since you are aware of yourself that that's not good for your health, it's not good for your mentality, you already have to sit back. You have to pull yourself, but it doesn't mean that you have to judge them because you do not know the entire person for why they become like that.
Mm. Yeah. So I'll just kind of add one comment to that, which is that I remember back a long time ago when I started asking myself, I thought, maybe it would be a good idea if I had a little bit more specific, if I was a little bit more specific about who I want to surround myself with the most, so I could get more intentional, or maybe even who do I want to help the most. There was a little bit of a part of me that was like, well, if I do that, then it's like I'm excluding other people, or I'm judging other people, or I'm kicking other people out of my life, and actually I realized that's not true. It's like if you just decide I want to surround myself with a certain type of people so that I can learn more from them. Or for me, I chose also I want to surround myself with people that are already working to grow themselves, because then if I try to help them in some way, they're much more likely to actually use what I, might share with them or something. And
Yes.
if somebody's not already on that journey, then I'm trying to change somebody who's not ready to change, maybe, right? So
Mm.
but then what I realized is that if you just keep filling your life up with people who are going to help you grow or go in the direction you want to go, or people that you can help more effectively, you're not really pushing anyone out. You're not cutting anyone off. You're not judging anyone, but
No,
your life just gets really full of the right people. And anyway, so that's my
I
kind of
agree. I
philosophy on that.
agree with
But
that.
yeah.
It
So
is just it is what it is. It will just happen. I mean, that's it. You have your own vibes, and what the vibes that you give to yourself,
yeah.
it's just it will return. What the vibes you give for the other people, it will really back to you.
So I think the theme that's coming to me from this whole conversation about you is that you're super open to, like, you don't, some people are very hesitant to meet new people, and their life is kind of, a little bit like this, and they put walls around it. And then
Mhm.
you're like the opposite of that. You just want to meet anyone, be friends with anyone. And basically you're making a decision that no matter who you meet and wherever they are, you're going to bring something good into their life that moment. Like you're going
Yes.
to lift up their minute, their hour, their day, or their, for however long you know them. And it's like you're going to be the positive influence to make their life a little bit better. And that you just basically believe that if you just keep doing that consistently, that karma basically it bounces back to you. And so you're, yeah, I think you're living proof that that is a good strategy, that it works. So
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I
I
think so.
can feel it. I can feel it.
That's the thing. I think if anybody's listening to this or looking at you or knows you, they would believe like, wow, that's pretty impressive way to live. Actually, yeah, everything doesn't mean you don't have problems or struggles or challenges, but it appears to me that you're facing life with a hell of a lot more joy than most people. So congratulations on that. And
Oh,
keep it
thank
up.
you.
Yeah. Sabrina, thank you for this conversation. I think it's going to be really fun for people to listen to, and that there's a lot to learn here. So thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where you go from here and who your kids become. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for this such an excellent interview, Eli. And before that, I would like to remind you you are one of the best person always there for me. And remember when I told you, like no matter what will happen to me, if I go up or down, if I go up, you have your hand to clap on me. If I go down, you have your open hand to what you call them, to save me. I do not know how, but it's you. It is you. And for the rest of our circle of friends, like I am so grateful of having them for a while because I learned a lot from them as well, good or bad. Like, my God, they're it's just an amazing. They built me for who I am now. They're part of it. And yeah, for all the people out there, I do really love you. See, I told you, I don't see them, I don't hear them, but here I am telling those all people who will listen to us that I do really love them.
I know it's
And
really true too. And
yeah,
I have to say, like, you have made me feel so good so many times by just the way that you express appreciation. I think you've actually taught me a lot. I I nowhere near I'm probably never going to get to the level you're at in expressing appreciation to people. Maybe I will, but I think you've actually taught me a lot about the power of making other people feel really good by just expressing, what you genuinely appreciate about them. And you're like an absolute master of that. So anyway, thank you so much for being the
you,
amazing,
you,
the energy that you bring to people around you. And I can't wait for more people to know you.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Sabrina. Thank you so much for listening to this interview on Emerge Stories. We really hope that something here sparked your curiosity or maybe helped you think about something in your life just from a little bit of a different angle or perspective, maybe opened up your mind to something you might be able to do in your life to take more ownership of your own learning and growth. That's the goal of this show. So please join our community, like and share, and tell other people about these stories if they're meaningful for you. And thanks so much for being here.